Let me explain something to you, mother. You on probation, right? You just approached me, threatening me. Your words was, we step on shit, okay? You didn't say I, you made it plural. You said we, so that's in cohorts. I mean a gang. You on probation. Then you had a fella with you that was possessing a gun. You are not supposed to be around with people that had guns. The federal authorities, because you made a threat while possessing a gun.
That nigga told gun. Bitch ass nigga. Man, them hoe ass niggas approach me. Now catch the
Snitch calls snitch. Young Thug could go to jail tonight. As of March 28th, 2026, literally last night, Charleston White, the same man who's been relentlessly calling Young Thug a rat, a snitch, a fed, and a coward, just flipped the script. He went on Instagram Live and said, "I'm contacting your probation officer. You're going to jail." Read that again. The guy who built his entire brand attacking snitches just snitched on camera, with no shame at all. And here's the twist. Due to the events that transpired at Drew's party in Miami, Young Thug could potentially face a 20-year prison sentence. Not 5, not 10, 20, all because of a man he probably didn't even want in the same room with. This is one of the most ironic, twisted, and layered situations hip-hop has seen in years. To understand how insane the scenario is, we have to rewind to Halloween 2024, October 31st. While the rest of the country was out trick-or-treating, Jeffrey Lamar Williams, better known as Young Thug, walked out of Georgia jail, stepping back into the world after serving over 2.5 years on one of the most complex RICO cases this nation has ever seen, the infamous YSL case. This was Georgia's longest trial in state history, a legal storm that swept through an entire crew, resulting in 28 indictments. The charges were extensive gang allegations, murder charges, drug charges, and firearm charges, the full spectrum of serious criminal accusations. But Young Thug didn't walk out clean. No, he struck a plea deal, and the sentence that followed was staggering. 40 years total. The first 5 years were commuted to time served, followed by 15 years of probation. Here's the part that truly defines the stakes. Lurking directly behind that probation is a backloaded 20-year prison sentence, like a loaded gun waiting to fire. Successfully completes all 15 years of probation, and that 20-year sentence disappears. But if he fails in any way, he will serve every single year of it. That's the invisible sword hanging over him every day he's free. And the terms of his release? They were anything but lenient. Young Thug cannot associate with known gang members or co-defendants from the trial, except for 2 people, Ganana and his brother Unfun. He is banned from the Atlanta metro area for a full decade. He must deliver anti-gang presentations. He cannot promote gang activity in any form. Every step he takes, every post, and every room he enters carries weight. One misstep, and that 20-year sentence becomes a reality. This is the life of a man walking on glass, where every move could trigger the next chapter in a high-stakes legal drama. That's the situation. And you need to keep that in mind, because everything that went down last night only makes sense when you understand just how tight that leash really is. But here's something most people don't realize. Last night wasn't even the first time someone tried to push Thug back behind bars. No, this battle started long before. Let's rewind to April 2025, when prosecutors tested that sword for the first time. On April 2nd, 2025, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office filed a detailed 14-page motion arguing that Young Thug had violated probation through his social media activity. The target was a now-deleted post aimed at DA investigator Marissa Viverito, in which he called her the biggest liar in the DA office. The reaction from prosecutors was immediate and intense. They claimed the post went viral, led to Viverito's address being publicly shared online, and even alleged that threats were made against Fonnie Willis herself. The motion described Thug's presence in the community as a clear and present danger to public safety, and it urged the court to revoke his probation immediately. But Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele, hit back without hesitation. Steele called the motion full of baseless claims and argued that reposting an image on social media while calling someone untruthful does not legally constitute a probation violation. And Thug himself took to X, asserting directly, "I don't make threats to people. I'm a good person. I would never condone anyone threatening anyone. I'm all about peace and love. And here's the critical part. The judge agreed. Judge Whitaker ruled that while Young Thug's social media behavior was clearly imprudent, it did not rise to the level of incarceration. She declined to revoke his probation. He dodged it. Barely, but he dodged it. Yet that close call should have been a warning shot, a signal from the universe. Stay low, stay quiet, stay out of drama. Because now, every situation is amplified. Every confrontation, every beef, every room you walk into carries exponentially more weight than it does for an ordinary person. You are not ordinary right now. You are a man with 20 years waiting in the shadows. And the streets? The streets don't care about your probation conditions. Someone will always have something to prove. And that someone last night was Charleston White. For those unfamiliar, here's the full picture. You cannot grasp why last night was so perilous without understanding who Charleston White is and what he is capable of. Born May 17, 1977 in Fort Worth, Texas, his story is far from simple. At just 14 years old, he was involved in a robbery that resulted in a murder charge, landing him in juvenile detention. He served his time, came out, and made genuine efforts to turn his life around. He studied criminal justice at Texas Wesleyan University and co-founded a youth outreach organization called Helping Young People Excel, known as HYPE. On paper, it reads like a classic redemption story. But then social media entered the picture, and Charleston White discovered one undeniable truth. Controversy pays. Charleston White built his entire online brand on saying the most outrageous, inflammatory things possible about hip-hop culture, street life, and rap artists, and then watching clicks pour in. He amassed hundreds of thousands of followers across multiple platforms doing exactly that. But what makes him uniquely dangerous in situations like these is his complete willingness to involve law enforcement whenever it suits him. Let's break down the track record. In 2002, he got into a public altercation with Soulja Boy at an event and claimed he maced him. And what happened immediately after? He filed a police report on Soulja Boy, publicly and on record. In 2003, he contacted Child Protective Services twice regarding a rapper named Finesse, who was working with a child artist named Lil King. He repeatedly called out T.I. over his son, King Harris, and threatened legal action. He also tangled publicly with Bowie Badass, making the conflict very visible. Earlier, in 2025, he was arrested himself on aggravated assault charges in Texas. This man has been in and out of drama, courtrooms, and the news for years. But the most critical piece of his history for this story is his obsession with labeling Young Thug a snitch. When the YSL trial began to unravel, an audio allegedly surfaced of Thug speaking during a police interrogation about fellow rapper Pee Wee Roscoe. Charleston White reacted with extreme anger. He took to Instagram and declared to the world, "I prophesied this outcome. I told you that Young Thug was gone. Don't tell it." He accused the entire YSL circle of being loose-lipped, making video after video after video, driving that narrative home to his audience. Young Thug equals snitch. That became his brand when it came to Thug, relentless, public, and impossible to ignore. And he kept it going. Charleston White continued making inflammatory remarks about the YSL RICO case. He suggested Young Thug deserved the legal troubles he was facing. He mocked the supporters. He stayed fixated on Thug's name for months, really years. Every time Thug's situation surfaced in the news cycle, Charleston White was there, delivering a hot take in a live stream, relentless and unyielding. Now, here's the irony that had been lurking beneath it all. While Charleston White screamed snitch at every turn, he had never once shied away from involving law enforcement whenever it served him. He called CPS. He filed police reports. He threatened restraining orders and civil suits, all publicly, all proudly. The rules were always different for Charleston, and that contradiction was always there. The culture just never fully saw it exposed until last night. And now, we arrive at the main event. Saturday, March 28, 2026 in Miami, Florida. Dusket comedian, the content king, the man who transformed Could Have Been Records into a cultural powerhouse, had just wrapped season 2 of his hit show, Could Have Been Love, and was hosting a reunion event to celebrate. And make no mistake, Drewski's events at this point are major cultural gatherings. Forbes ranked him number 9 on their top creators list after he earned $14 million in 2024. His circle pulls everyone, A-listers, athletes, rappers, influencers. If you are someone in hip-hop culture today, you show up when Drewski calls. It was that type of event, a celebration, a good time, a night meant for enjoyment. But on this night, in this room of all rooms, two people who absolutely should have been on opposite sides of the planet ended up face to face. Young Thug and Charleston White. And while we don't have every detail of what sparked the confrontation yet, the stage was set for a collision nobody saw. Are you going to jail? That's the quote. That's the headline. The man who spent years calling Young Thug a snitch is now the one making the report. Now, let's slow down and be detectives for a moment, because this isn't just clout chasing or Instagram drama. This is serious, life-altering legal implications, and we need to break it down piece by piece. Number 1, the probation terms. Remember what we established earlier? Young Thug has 20 years sitting in a backloaded sentence that activates the moment he violates his probation. Any credible allegation of new criminal act, and under Georgia law, terroristic threats absolutely qualify, is a direct pathway back to prison. Not 1 year, not 2 years, but 20 years. Number 2, the location. The fact that this allegedly occurred on FAA property in Miami matters enormously. While his probation is supervised by Georgia authorities, a federal incident on federal property introduces an entirely separate layer of exposure. This is no longer just a Fulton County matter. This could become a federal conversation, and federal charges and violations carry their own weight entirely. Number 3, the prior attempt. Recall that prosecutors already tried to revoke his probation back in April 2025 over a social media post. The judge shot it down, yes, but she warned him directly to exercise extreme caution moving forward. The court already has a pattern on record. Now, a second allegation, especially one involving a verbal death threat, an allegedly armed entourage, multiple witnesses, video footage, and a formal police report, lands in a completely different way than a deleted Instagram post ever could. Charleston White announced he will be filing his formal report Monday morning, March 30th. That means, as of right now, the report may already be in the system, or just hours away from being officially filed. And once it's in the system, it's real. It goes straight to the probation officer. The probation officer escalates it to the judge. And the judge, who already warned Young Thug once before, now faces a decision of whether to hold a full probation revocation hearing. Number 5, the burden of proof. Here's something a lot of people don't understand about probation revocation. It is not a criminal trial. The prosecution does not need to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Instead, they only need a preponderance of the evidence, meaning it's more likely than not that a violation occurred. That's a much lower legal threshold. And with Charleston White on camera, describing exactly what he claims happened, along with video evidence of the altercation on federal property, that bar might already be clear before Young Thug's lawyer even has a chance to respond. This isn't hypothetical. This is a chain of events actively in motion, and at the end of that chain, 20 years are waiting. Now, let's talk about what the culture did with this. Naturally, the moment Charleston White posted that video announcing he was reporting Thug to his probation officer, the internet erupted. The irony was impossible to ignore, impossible to defend. Here was a man who built his entire online presence around the idea that snitching is the ultimate sin in street culture. A man who called Young Thug a rat daily, who made Thug as a snitch his content strategy for over 2 years, who jumped on every piece of YSL Rico news to reinforce that narrative. And now, unprompted on Instagram Live, he publicly tells the world he is going straight to the authorities with a formal report. He is literally doing the exact thing he spent years condemning, and the internet caught